Greetings, Yankees Nation. You're tuned into Bronx Bombers news, your refuge in the heart of Yankee Stadium, where every pitch turns into history, and every piece of news stirs the soul of the Bronx Faithful. Before we dive into the story involving a former Yankee, a historic rival, and a touch of irony from fate, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell, because here we live the pinstripe life up close, every day, never missing a detail of our Bronx legacy. And today's news is one of those that makes fans raise an eyebrow and reflect on the winding paths some careers can take within the league. Enyel De Los Santos, the right-hander who wore the pinstripes for a brief and turbulent period, has been officially announced as a new addition to the Houston Astros. Fate, that great master of suspense, loves to play tricks on us, and seeing him now in a uniform of a direct rival competing for the American League title is one of those moments that leave us with a mixture of disbelief, a touch of nostalgia, and a pinch of irritation that only a true Bronx fan can feel. The picture emerging for the Astros is clear and relentless. The pursuit of dominance in the AL West, already won 7 times in the last 8 seasons, cannot afford setbacks. Injuries in their pitching staff left a gap that needs to be urgently filled, and that's where the signing of De Los Santos comes in. First reported by respected MLB insider Mike Rodriguez, and later confirmed by Chandler Rome of The Athletic. For those who follow De Los Santos' brief and not exactly glorious stint in Bronx, this news triggers an almost automatic reaction, a mix of disbelief and even a bit of irony. After all, an ERA of 14.21 in just over 6 innings pitched is not something fans remember fondly. However, baseball is a game of constant opportunities, and when one door closes, another opens, even if it's on a rival's field. Houston decided to bet on this experience despite still playing at a high level. Depth to a bullpen represents a short-term injuries and inconsistency during the season. To better understand a path that brought Enyel De Los Santos to Houston, we need to go back to the beginning of his journey. The young pitcher was signed in July 2014 by the Seattle Mariners as an international free agent, an important first step for any player seeking his place in the MLB spotlight. However, his time in the Mariners system was short-lived, lasting only a year, until November 2015, when he was involved in a trade that sent him to the San Diego Padres as part of a package for veteran Joaquin Benoit. This trade was the first of several moves that would characterize De Los Santos' career, a sequence of challenges and constant adjustments. In December 2017, he was traded again, this time to the Philadelphia Phillies, in a deal involving infielder Freddie Galvis. It was at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia that De Los Santos made his major league debut in 2018, but the results were far from exciting. With an ERA of 6.21 over 38 games, he struggled to establish himself as a reliable bullpen piece for the Phillies. The next chapter took him to Pittsburgh, where in September 2021 he was claimed by the Pirates after being designated for assignment by the Phillies. However, his time there also lacked stability. Pitching just 7 1/3 innings with a 4.91 ERA, he was quickly sent down to AAA. Rejecting the assignment, he chose free agency and found a new home with the Cleveland Guardians, a team renowned for its ability to develop pitchers. It was with the Guardians that De Los Santos experienced his most solid stretch yet, becoming an efficient and dependable reliever. Between the 2022 and 2023 seasons, he appeared in 120 games, pitching 119 innings, maintaining a 3.18 ERA and a 3.10 FIP, while contributing 1.9 WAR to the team. These numbers indicated that he had finally found his rhythm and an environment conducive to his development. However, instability returned when, in November 2023, the Guardians traded him to the Padres in a deal that brought Scott Barlow to Cleveland. De Los Santos once again showed uneven performance in San Diego, posting a 4.46 ERA over 40 1/3 innings during the 2024 season. With the trade deadline approaching, the Padres decided to include him in a mid-season deal that sent him to the New York Yankees on July 30th, 2025. De Los Santos' arrival in the Bronx was met with cautious optimism. After all, a reinforced bullpen can make all the difference in tight late-season races. However, what unfolded was a short and painful chapter for Yankees fans. In just 6 1/3 innings pitched, his ERA skyrocketed to an alarming 14.21. with opposing hitters frequently making solid contact. The pressure of pitching at Yankee Stadium, the high expectations of the fan base, and the lack of adjustment time all contributed to an underwhelming performance. Less than 2 weeks after his arrival, De Los Santos was designated for assignment on August 14th, abruptly ending his Bronx tenure without much fondness. Despite this brief stint in the Bronx, his career continued, and Chicago White Sox decided to bet on his potential. In Chicago, he managed to regain a more balanced form, finishing the year with a 3.63 ERA over 17 and one-third innings. While those numbers are not extraordinary, they suggest that the Los Santos still has the tools to contribute as a bullpen pitcher, especially in a context where roster depth is critical for success over MLB's long seasons. It is in this scenario that the Astros made their move, hoping that, in a perhaps less suffocating environment than the Bronx, he can find a consistency that eluded him with the Yankees. For Yankees fans, the Los Santos' signing by the Astros generates mixed feelings. On one hand, there's a natural indifference toward the limited impact he had in New York. His stay was so brief and disappointing that it is unlikely to be remembered as a notable moment in the franchise's recent history. On the other hand, there is a hint of discomfort and even some annoyance seeing him bolster a direct rival in the fight for the American League title, especially a team like Houston, which has been a constant and tough adversary for Bombers in recent years. The rivalry between the Yankees and Astros has intensified greatly in recent cycles, marked by memorable clashes and fierce playoff battles, causing every move by the competition to be closely watched and critically analyzed by the Bronx Faithful. The future, as always in baseball, is uncertain. While it seems unlikely that Enyel De Los Santos alone will change the Astros season trajectory, the sport is full of stories of overlooked players emerging as unexpected heroes, especially in the high-stakes games of October. Should that storyline unfold, and the Los Santos become a key piece in a potential series against the Yankees, what is now only a mild annoyance could turn into a real headache for the Bronx. That is why every step Houston takes is scrutinized carefully, not out of paranoia, but from a clear understanding that in the details and small adjustments often lie the keys to success. And so, as we follow from afar the journey of a face that passed quickly through the Bronx, we cannot help but reflect on the unpredictable paths baseball throws at us. Enyel De Los Santos' career is a reminder that even amid hardships and constant changes, the quest for another chance remains alive. If you follow this journey with us, drop your like, subscribe to Bronx Bombers News, and tell us, do you think the Los Santos has what it takes to surprise and make a difference in Houston, or will he remain just another forgotten chapter in MLB's extensive history of roster moves? Bronx Bombers News remains strong, bringing you the stories that make baseball live and breathe in the Bronx. Stay with us, because here, the Yankee saga never ends.